Does your dog have a touch of the tism? Apparently, this is a thing. I had no idea, but is your dog autistic? Scientists claim pooches can be neurodivergent. God, that's just so much more harsh than just simply calling somebody autistic. But just like humans, here are the key signs to look out for. So yes, if your old pupperoo just loves to stare at the wall or just to properly organize his treats before they eat them, I mean, yeah, you might got a special little boy. So scientists say that autism isn't uniquely human, as the new evidence shows that dogs can be on the spectrum. According to Dr. Jacqueline Boyd, an animal scientist at Nottingham Trent University, pooches can be neurodiverse in just the same way as their owners. Oh, great. I wonder which dogs are most susceptible to being expert Rubik's Cube solvers. This means that dogs can show symptoms that would be diagnosed as autism as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in humans. Currently, there is no formal diagnosis for autism or ADHD in dogs, as the the vets group this behavior under the broad umbrella of canine dysfunctional behavior. However, Dr. Boyd says that the scientists are now starting to give serious attention to how the idea that animals might experience the world differently because of diversity and how their brains function. Dr. Boyd said that some dogs might be very much like the neurotypical human, whereas other dogs might be more neurodivergent and more like someone with autism or ADHD. So, what are the signs? What are the telltale signs we got here? Neurodivergence is a term scientists use to talk about the differences in how some people's brains function. And if there's no microphone around, and if they're not given a press conference, I'd imagine they probably have different terms than neurodivergent. In humans, they can cause conditions that shape how some people interact with the world. That includes learning disabilities like dyslexia and dyspraxia, the more life-changing conditions like autism spectrum disorder and ADHD. Scientists used to think that these conditions were unique to humans, but modern research is showing that isn't necessarily the case. So yes, diagnosing neurodivergence in dogs is extremely difficult. Giving a human diagnosis to an animal that can't speak in the same way, well, yeah, normally that's kind of a sign of early onset, well, not early onset, but childhood autism is if they can't speak. So I guess you probably have a pretty high diagnosis rate for dogs, is the same way that, yes, and it can be really difficult to diagnose the pooch. But what we can say is that they will sometimes exhibit behavior tendencies that in a human would meet diagnostic criteria for a neurodivergent condition. One of the most obvious behavioral tendencies is the high level of impulsivity or poor impulse control. People with ADHD will have an imbalance in their neurotransmitters, serotonin and dopamine, which are important for emotional stability and focus. Research has also shown that low levels of these neurotransmitters are associated with impulsivity in dogs. Dr. Boyd says that an easy one that I will always pick up on is something like hypervigilance or hyperfocus. These traits make a dog extremely watchful or intensely interested in an external world, and they mimic some of the traits that would be characteristics of some forms of ADHD or autism. But yes, signs your dogs might be neurodivergent, hypervigilance, poor impulse control, hyperfocus, sensitivity to certain sounds, a lack of interest in people, and difficulty socializing. So yeah, man, if your dog's acting up or you don't think that he's acting appropriately, well, who knows, man? He might need to hop on some Ritalin to get himself mellowed out. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.